Hi, everybody. We're going to start in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Hi, Harper and Ainsley. Happy birthday, Ainsley. I didn't get a chance to tell you while you were having breakfast with the Easter Bunny, but hope you have a good day. What are you, 5 now? Wow. Can't believe that. Thanks for sending all the pictures you keep sending me. You look like you're having fun. Okay, we're going to start. So hello to everybody out there. It was really fun having breakfast with the Easter Bunny. That was so much fun to be able to talk to everybody and see everybody. Oh, you're welcome, Ainsley. So it was really fun to have breakfast with the Easter Bunny. That Easter Bunny, I'll tell you, that she's funny doing her jokes and making you go for scavenger hunts and everything. It was so much fun. So today I'm going to read a story. Can you guess what story I'm going to read? My little friend's going to help me. I have another little friend. This guy's going to help me read the story. I have another one too. And this one, this is one of my very favorite stories. And when my boys were little, these guys decorated their nursery. This is Peter Rabbit. And that's what I'm going to wear. That's what I'm going to read today is Peter Rabbit. I had so many things in their nursery when they were little of Peter Rabbit. So Peter's going to help me. I have a couple more things that I've collected to show you. Peter Rabbit in a watering can. Look at that. He comes out. Isn't that cute? That was in their room. And then a friend of mine actually gave me a little teacup. Isn't that cute with Peter Rabbit on it? So cute. So today I have a book called The Tale of Peter Rabbit. I'm going to read that for you first. And then when I'm finished, we're going to do some crafts and I have some science experiments too. They're really cool. They're done with Easter candy. So we have one of my favorite books, The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Now I'll read it first and then I'll show you the pictures. This book is pretty old. It was written a long time ago. It says, once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. And there they are. Can you see them? There they are, Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter and their mom. "Now, my dears," said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, "you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor." Ooh, there they are getting their coats on. Doesn't Peter look just like my Peter? Now run along and don't get into mischief. I'm going out. There they are, getting ready to go for a walk. Then old Mrs. Rabbit took her basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. There she is, taking a walk, going to the baker. Now Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were very good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. So they listened to their mom. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. Didn't his mom say, "Don't go to Mr. McGregor's garden"? Oh, Peter, what's going to happen? First, he ate some lettuces and some beans, and then he ate some radishes. I guess he was hungry. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. I guess if he ate all that food, his tummy was full. Uh-oh. But around the end of the cucumber frame, whom shall he meet but Mr. McGregor? Look, he was working out in his garden. Uh-oh. Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting out young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Uh-oh, Peter's in trouble. Now, Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten his way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe amongst the potatoes. I don't know if you can see his little tiny shoes in that picture, but he lost them in the garden. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster, so that I think he might have gotten away altogether if he had not unfortunately run into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, and it was quite new. See that? My Peter has buttons too on his jacket, and that's what got caught in the net. Peter gave himself up for lost, and he shed big, big tears. But his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows, who flew to him and implored him to exert himself. So that means they said, "Peter, come on, you can do it. You can get out." Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve, which he intended to pop it on top of Peter. But Peter wiggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind. Uh-oh. Did you ever lose your jacket somewhere? What did Mom or Dad say? And he rushed into the tool shed and jumped into the can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. And this can looks just like my can. Look, there it is. See that? Just like my watering can. Oh, Peter. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden underneath a flower pot. He began to turn over each one carefully, looking under each. Presently, Peter sneezed. "Kerchoo!" Mr. McGregor was after him in no time and tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp from sitting in the can. After a time, he began to wander about, going lippity-lippity, but not very fast, and looking all around. He found a door in a wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little bunny to squeeze underneath. An old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the wood. Peter asked her which way to go to the gate, but she had so much in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head at him. Peter began to cry. He's thinking he'll never get home. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. Presently, he came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his watering cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still, but now and then the tip of her tail switched as it was alive. Peter thought it was best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousin, little Benjamin Bunny. There's the kitty cat. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Peter shuddered underneath the bushes, but presently nothing happened. He came out, climbed upon a wheelbarrow, and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. His back was turned towards Peter, and behind him was the gate. Can you see where the gate where Peter should go? Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could go along a straight walk behind some black currant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe and at last in the wood outside the garden. Phew! I was beginning to worry. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and the shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. You see Peter's jacket? Uh-oh. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him till he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice soft sand on the floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. After his mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a fortnight. Look at him. Can you see him laying down? He is so tired. I'm sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother put him to bed with some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter. 1 tablespoon to be taken at bedtime. There they are. See him in his bed back there? But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for their supper. The end. Wasn't that a good story? It's one of my favorite stories of Peter Rabbit. There he is. Now, Peter's going to stick around to help us do a couple more things. The first thing we're going to do is get ready for a science experiment, and I need some peeps. So this is something that you can do at home after I'm done here, because it's really easy, you'll remember. So I needed 3 peeps, and I needed 3 containers. Now this container just has water in it. Nope, I'm sorry, that one, has vinegar in it. Whew. This container has lime juice. Yep, that smells like limes. This one is the one with water. Yep, that's water. So what we're going to do is, in our containers, we're going to put a peep. Put a peep in that one. Put a peep in the lime juice. And a peep in the vinegar. Now we're going to set these, you can't really see it. We're going to set these off to the side, and we're going to come back to them before we leave to find out what happens to our peeps. What do you think is going to happen to our peeps? Peep in water, a peep in lime juice, and a peep in vinegar. Think about that. See what's going to happen. Now we have another science experiment. Everybody like jelly beans? I have jelly beans in my hand. Whoops, they're all out. I love jelly beans. So what I did, 3 containers again, I put 4 of the same color jelly beans in a little plastic container. Those were red. These are purple. I'm just going to pour a little bit of water in the bottom just to cover, just enough to cover the jelly beans. And let that sit for a couple minutes. I also have some green ones. Now we're getting ready to do another science experiment with these candies, but this is also going to turn into a craft. So we're just going to let these sit here for just a minute, and we'll come back to them, and I'll show you what's going to happen with those. Ready for a craft? I'm ready for a craft. You need a piece of paper. Any size paper. This is pink. And what I did was I traced my hand on my paper. You can do it yourself, or maybe you get a friend or mom or dad to help you trace around your hand. And then you're going to cut it out. And it's going to look like this. So I traced and I cut. Now, I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and mom or dad might want to help you with this one too. I'm going to take tall man finger. I'm going to cut him right off because we don't need him for this project. You're probably thinking, what are we making? Miss Beth, what are we making? So now I have a hand without my tall man finger. So I'm going to pull down my pinky and bend it down. See that? And my thumb and bend it down. What do you think it looks like? Think it looks like a bunny with ears? And these are his arms. You're right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to decorate our bunny. Okay? So I'm going to get a marker, and I'm going to color in his ears. Just real simple. Just like that. Can you see my ears I colored in? And I'm going to get a black marker, and I'm going to add some eyes and a nose and some whiskers and his little mouth. See that? So far, so good. Pretty easy, right? Now I'm just going to decorate him. I might put some fingers on him, maybe some feet. See that? His fingers and his feet. I'm going to take another color. I'm going to give my Easter bunny a bow tie. There he is. So he's going to give you a big hug. I made one earlier. I made a girl Easter bunny. There she is. I gave her a carrot to hold, and I put bows in her hair. So she's going to give you a big hug. Boom. But that was really easy to make. Something that you can make at home with just a piece of paper. It could be any color. It could be pink, white, purple, brown, black, anything you want it to. Just remember, trace your hand. You're going to cut it out. You're going to cut off tall man finger, and then you're going to decorate. Pretty easy, and it looks really cute. Okay, you ready for another craft that I have? I'm going to make an Easter card. So I have a card. It opens up. I put a thumbprint, dipped it in some paint, and put a thumbprint. Now I put some paint in a little container here that I have. I'm going to make a chick. So I'm using yellow paint. And I'm going to dip my finger carefully in the paint. I'm going to put it on my card like this. Pressed it right on there and lift it up. Now my pink over here is dry. I did that last night so it would dry. So I can show you what we're going to do with these dots on the paper. I'm going to take a marker and watch what I'm going to do. I'll show you like this. I'm going to put, oh, that one's not working. Let's get a different one. I'm going to put 2 ears on my pink dot. Do you know what I'm making? I'm going to give it some feet. Do you know? Have you guessed? Eyes, a nose, mouth, and whiskers. No, now it's the Easter Bunny. This can be a card that you could make for anybody. You can write Happy Easter on it. Now I'm not going to touch this over here. This yellow spot is going to be a little chick. Now it's a little wet right now, so I'm not going to decorate it. But when it's decorated, I'm going to give it little legs. I can put the little legs on it now. And I'm going to give it some eyes and a beak. And doesn't that make a really cute card? Yeah. Make an Easter Bunny card. Okay. So they were 2 crafts that you can make with just piece of paper, some markers, or some paint. Now let's get back to our jelly beans. So this is what I did. Our jelly beans, here's the purple ones. They're in some water. I have a paintbrush. I'm going to stir it around. Guess what? You can turn jelly beans, regular old jelly beans, yummy, into paint. Can you believe that? That's what I did with my red jelly beans. They dissolved. The color of the jelly beans came off onto the water and it made paint. And I started making a picture. I'm using a paper towel. You see that? I painted that with jelly beans. Pretty cool. I did this a little while ago, so it's dried now. And I made my dots into flowers. So now I'm going to take the purple. It might not be real dark yet because the jelly beans aren't, all the color isn't off the jelly beans yet. But I'm just going to paint little purple circles. It works best on the paper towels because they're more absorbent and they just spread around. It looks really cool. Look at that. Can you see that flower? Yeah. Then I also used green jelly beans and I made green paint. Let me give it up a little stir. I'm going to paint my stem and my leaf. There you go. Now I put 4 jelly beans in a little tiny bit of water. You can put as many as you want. The more jelly beans, the darker your colors will be. But I think that's a pretty neat project. Painting with jelly beans. Who knew? Who knew you could do that? Wow, pretty cool. So that was one of our art projects. Or another one turned into a science experiment. Give it a try. It takes a couple minutes. Jelly beans in a little bit of water makes paint. Didn't know that. Let's go back to our peeps. Okay, we have a peep. And I'm looking at it right now. This is the one in vinegar because I can smell it. The peep is floating around. I'm going to push it down a little bit. But you really can't see it too well here. My peep is dissolving. What does dissolve mean? Dissolve means it's melting down into the liquid. This one, I'll have to see if I can take this one out. This is the one that was in the lime juice. Oh, it is really gooey. And look what happened to it. It was floating down in the lime juice. It's not green anymore. This side is green. It's really slimy too. This one turned white. See that? Half green, half white. Yuck. Kind of slimy. So it's dissolving. The one in the water is just floating there. Not doing too much. He's just floating there. But you know why they're dissolving? They're made out of sugar. And the sugar is melting or dissolving in the liquid. So water, it will take longer with the water because it doesn't have the acid in the liquid. That's why I use 3 different liquids. I use the lime juice. The lime juice seems to be really working. It's taking the sugar right off of our peep. And then the vinegar, the vinegar and the water is also doing the same thing. So try it with a couple different kinds of liquids in your house. You could try it with milk, a little bit of orange juice, water, vinegar, lime juice like I had. See what happens after a while, after you leave these in this liquid. See what happens to your peep. I bet it dissolves and it'll get slimy. Which liquid do you think will dissolve it quicker? I'm looking here and I'm thinking my lemon juice does. Dissolving the peep. So if you get some peeps tomorrow from the Easter Bunny, this is something that you can do at home too. Okay? So I showed you lots of different things today that you can do. You can make an Easter card with your thumbprints and paint. You could make a little bunny using your hand and some markers. You could make paper drawings with jelly beans and water and turn it into paint. Or you could also do a science experiment and put a peep in some different kinds of liquids and watch what happens to it. See which one works better and how long it takes to dissolve. I'm going to keep mine here. I'm going to see what happens to it by tomorrow morning. During Sunday school, I'll let you know what happens. Okay, that's it for today. Hope everybody had a fun time. See you later. Bye.